success factors you need to know, and how you can develop them fast. So, something that I love saying on these podcasts is that I have the luxury of getting front row seats to all of my clients' life. They tell me things that they've never told anyone. They tell me the things that they're thinking about, that they're feeling, the obstacles that they run into. I mean, they pour their souls out to me each and every session, and I'm very thankful for that. And also, that is a reason why you should listen to this full podcast episode, because I'm able to share with you the things that I see them go through and the things that I'm able to see that makes them successful or lack that success, if you will. And that's what this podcast is all about. The beauty of being a therapist or a coach is that you get firsthand view, firsthand sights of, again, what people are going through. You get to see what is causing them to not access the life that they want. You also get to see what things they are doing, and actually you can apply that to your own life. And that's going to be something that I talk about in a future podcast episode, where I talk about some of the lessons that I've learned from my clients. So not just the lessons that I teach them, but the lessons that I've learned from them, because it's a two-way street. But more on that later. So in this podcast, I'm going to give you guys the success factors that I've seen help people to become more successful in their personal life, but also in their businesses and their careers. And if you made it this far to the podcast, it's telling me that this is something that you really, really want to hear. And because of that, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast so that way you can get more podcasts and more information just like this. So the first point, guys, please do not hate me for this. Do not shoot the messenger, as they say. I'm going to make a point, and it's going to be an ugly point, but you have to hear it. So one of the first points, one of the first factors when it comes to being successful is the C word, and it's consistency. The only place where confidence comes before consistency is in the dictionary. Okay, so you have to be consistent. You have to be able to apply something that you're learning over and over and over again before you become competent in that area, before you become an expert in that area. And what I see far too many times is that people tend to give up at the slightest, the slightest bit of inconvenience. This can not only just be someone failing, but this can be them, let's say, not being able to figure something out. To give you an example, right now I'm in a coaching program and I'm learning so many different things. But what comes with that is learning a lot of different software. And all this different software, sometimes they have bugs, sometimes they don't connect with it I want them to connect. And it can be very frustrating. There have been days where I've been working, trying to get something to work, only to see that it didn't come to fruition and I got to put it off to the next day. But what that allows me to do, though, is see what I'm capable of. Because whether it's the next day or the next week, I'm able to bypass that hurdle because I figured it out or I found someone to figure it out. So therefore, it builds this belief into me that I can do hard things. But you can only develop that if you're willing to be consistent, guys. You have to be consistent. So what I want you guys to do is to pick a small habit that you can simply reproduce easily, okay? Easily, over a long period of time. Let's say 30 days. Pick one small habit. This can be posting something on Twitter, right? For all my social media content creators, I want you to go on Twitter. If you love Instagram, you can do this as well. But pick something, a topic, or a series of topics that you can easily reproduce, talk about, because you feel as though you're an expert in it. And what you can do from there is you can build on that, right? So if you're starting off with just tweets, maybe you do tweets, and then maybe once a week, you can send out an email to your email list. Or maybe once a week, you can shoot a podcast by picking one of those 7 topics. Because again, you did a tweet every day that week. You can pick a podcast topic from one of those 7 tweets and go a little bit further in depth for your audience. But to do that, you have to start off small. I love telling people about my podcast journey, how at first I used to do these 30-minute podcasts because I believed that's what made a podcast great. But that was hard for me to sustain. And as a result, I went on maybe like a year or 2-year hiatus from doing podcasts, and I lost so much traction. But what I started to do when I came back was doing 5-minute podcast episodes. And you may see that my podcasts have gradually grown, where they used to start off with 5 minutes, 7 minutes, maybe 8 minutes. And now a lot of them are surpassing 10 minutes. And I'm willing to bet that some of them will start to pass the 20-minute mark as I get more comfortable with doing this. But see, you have to build up to that, right? You have to build up to that. And if you quit after every single sign of inconvenience, you will never make it. So again, this inconvenience can come in the terms of not being able to figure something out, right? So tech issues and things like that. It could be money, right? I love seeing when people say they can't afford things, but yet they go out and purchase something that costs that same amount. And I'm willing to admit, sometimes I find myself doing that, and I have a good laugh, and I go and I take action immediately, and try to make, not try, but I go and I buy the thing that maybe I was procrastinating on, right? So again, these inconveniences, you got to be able to get through them. You have to be persistent. And that's why having a goal that is worthy, and you can find a goal that's worthy by connecting it to a value, but having a goal that is worthy will ensure that you'll be able to go through tough times, develop the consistency so that you can overcome and achieve whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. So again, not the sexiest point, it's something that you have heard, and this is just simply a reminder. All right, my second main point. So again, these are the factors for success. And I'm gonna tell you guys a story about when I was at Clemson University. Okay, so this was back from 2015 to 2017. I was getting my master's, and during that time, we had one of the best quarterbacks in Clemson history, Deshaun Watson. So I remember sitting in the student section, and shout out to Clemson because all our tickets were free, but really they were probably included in our student bill. But nonetheless, they were free. It felt free, so that's the only thing that matters. So I remember going to the games, and this guy was awesome. I mean, Deshaun Watson, I mean, you've seen him. He's been in the Heisman Trophy candidate like race when he was in college. Also won a national championship, and also when he was in the league, when he was at the height of his career, okay, because he got hurt and then he had the scandal. But at the height of his career, when he was playing with the Texans, a lot of people saw him as probably a top 3 quarterback, right? And this is when Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes were still tearing up the league. They still saw him as a top 3 quarterback. So this guy was really, really great nonetheless. But something that I saw him do time and time again at Clemson was amazing. And this is one of the factors to success. So I would literally see Deshaun Watson walk on that field, maybe go through 3 or 4 plays, right? And then throw an interception. And that guy would literally walk off the field as if nothing happened. He'll huddle up with his guys. He'll sit with his quarterback coach. They'll go through the play. He'll see what he did wrong. And then I've literally seen this man go out the very next series and throw a touchdown pass as if it was nothing, as if nothing happened prior. This guy has a very short memory, and that is one of the factors to success. I need you to have a short memory when it comes to your failures, when it comes to your mistakes, when it comes to things not panning out the way that you wanted them to pan out. One thing that I love when it comes to this, and I need you guys to hear this, is when I go about my journey putting together Facebook campaign ads. My Facebook ads, I've seen some of the ads that I thought would have done great do poorly, and the ads that I thought would have done poorly do great. It's ironic, right? It's funny, right? But I'm not attached to any one of those pictures, any one of those videos, because I know that down the line there's something bigger that I'm trying to accomplish, and that will only be accomplished through testing, through going through the ups and downs of figuring out what works. That's why I need you to have a very, very short memory. Another position, and not to make this football related, but another position is cornerbacks. So the cornerbacks on the field are the people that guards the wide receivers. And the wide receivers are the guys that catch the ball. And you've had some of the greats, whether it's Jalen Ramsey, Darrelle Revis, Deion Sanders, like all these guys. They've given up touchdowns. And the thing about this is when you give up a touchdown, in about 10 minutes, you're going to be back on that field facing that same guy that caught a touchdown on you. And if you're not mentally locked in, if you're still thinking about the last play, guess what's going to happen again? They're going to score a touchdown on you. So you have to have this short memory, if you will. And that short memory will allow you to take action. And that's going to lead me to my next point. So main point number 3 when it comes to success is that the speed between having an idea and taking an action means everything. So again, main point number 3, the speed between having an idea and taking action is everything. So if you get an idea, let's take the iPod. I love giving this example. If you had an idea of creating the iPod back in 2001 or whenever it came out, and you waited until, let's say, 2012 to produce it, well, guess what? You missed the boat, because iPods are a thing of the past. MP3, people, well, you should know. If you're part of my audience, you're around that age that remembers MP3s, but there's some kids right now in high school or college or maybe even young adults who don't even know what an MP3 player is, because now you just play all your music through your phone. But see, that's why you have to have speed when it comes to these ideas. Even when you're given a task, the speed between having a task assigned and you taking action means everything, because that's going to allow you to outpace your competition. That's going to also allow you to develop belief within yourself, because what stops people from taking action is a lack of confidence in themselves. It's a lack of confidence in thinking that they can take this idea and make it work for them. They can take this action, this task, and have success with it. So let's cut that in half and let's start implementing these deadlines within ourselves when we're given an idea or a task. So you may say, hey, within 24 hours, I want to take action. And as a matter of fact, that is a technique. I wasn't going to share this, but this is actually a technique that I've been giving a lot of my clients, and I give it to myself as well. So here it goes. So whenever you're procrastinating, I want you to ask yourself these two questions. What is an action that I can take within 24 hours? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being that it's super easy to accomplish, and 1 being that it's impossible, right? Almost like impossible. Let's just say very, very hard. That goal, that task needs to be at least a 7. So again, what can I do within 24 hours? And then also on a scale of 1 to 10, what is an action in terms of easiness is at least a 7, okay? So the example that I always give my clients is traveling. If I said, hey, I want to travel within the next 24 hours, well, I can go to Spain, I can go to Egypt, I can go to Greece, so many different places within 24 hours. But the level of ease is rather difficult, because I would have to find a sitter, I have to take time off from my clients, my wife would have to take time off from her job. So that is pretty tough. But I could still travel within 24 hours and make it really easy by, let's say, going to the next city over. Maybe I go to a city that I haven't been to by taking an hour drive. That part is easy and it's doable. And that right there, those two questions will help you to increase the speed between having an idea or being assigned a task and then completing it. That right there, it means everything. And then main point number 4, my last point, the most important point, and I love using a metaphor to describe this point. So when you have a light bulb, right, and you turn that light bulb on, it has the ability to light up a room. But if I was able to condense that light bulb into a laser, I can shoot that laser from here all the way out to a mile or beyond, right? I could shoot this laser. There's some lasers, especially if you're here in South Florida, you see the laser go up from the Hard Rock Casino. If you're not from here, you could think of just the lights from a stadium. You could see those lights literally from miles away. And that's because it's condensed and it's focused. And when it's focused like that, it can become very, very powerful. That's what I want to get to this point. So point number 4, your ability to focus means everything when it comes to your success. Because what you'll start to see from social media to commercials to ads that you see as you're driving down the street, things tend to be very flashy and shiny because they want your attention. And I actually go further. It's not that they want your attention, it's that they need your attention. Think about this, guys. There are people that literally go online and they strip naked and they have sex with random people, all to get your attention. Think about that, guys. People are willing to degrade themselves, to shame themselves. And this is no shame or anything to people that are like, adult stars, if you will, or they call them mattress actors, if you will, right? Like, no shame to them or anything like that. But this is what some people do in order to, whether it's make money, get fame, or what have you, right? To be recognized, like anything. Think about this, guys. People are willing to go to that depth to get your attention. So what does that say about your attention? There are people that literally lose their lives and also risk their lives on social media doing all this crazy stuff, jumping from building to building or jumping into traffic or playing with guns, knives, and fires, all to get your attention. So it's like, if people are willing to do that for my attention, what does that say about the value of my attention? I want you guys to think about that. What does that say about your focus? To me, it says that your focus is very, very powerful and is very, very valuable. So therefore, I need you to treat it as such. So what I want you to start to do is ask yourself, what is the main thing today? I have a very great saying, and one of my clients, he loves it. I tell them, the most important thing is to keep the most important thing. the most important thing. Because there's so many shiny objects that will convince you that the most important thing that you have on your to-do list isn't important. It's something that you should do later when the night's about to end, right? When your day is almost over. But when you do that, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're putting your success on the back burner. And that goes to my previous point about the speed between having an idea and taking action. So I want you guys to be very unapologetic when it comes to your time, your focus, and your energy. Trust me when I say the people that are willing to support you, the people that love you, they will not drop you. They will not hate you. They will not cut you off if you told them no, if you told them that you have to get back to them. And sometimes we have to tell ourselves no when it comes to our pleasures, the things that we enjoy, because that instant gratification is the thing that pulls us away from the bigger things, the delayed gratification. When you delay that gratification, just like investing in, let's say, Apple or Microsoft or any stock, it has the potential to be so much more than what you originally put in. So I'm gonna summarize the 4 main points when it comes to your success and how you can develop it. So the first main point, as I said, is an ugly point, but it's all about consistency. You cannot become confident or great without becoming consistent. Next, you have to have short-term memory. This is a point that I made about Deshaun Watson, the quarterback from Clemson. Now he's a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. You have to have short-term memory about every loss, failure, mistake that you make. The third point is that the speed between having an idea and taking action means everything. If you have a great idea like creating the iPod, but you wait until 2012 to do that, well, you may have missed out on $1 billion idea, right? So speed is everything. And then the fourth point, your ability to focus. Again, you can be a light bulb and light up a room, or you can be a laser and you can be seen from miles and miles away. So make sure that you focus. Also, don't forget the main point that I made about that when it comes to people willing to kill themselves, die. People are willing to strip naked, have sex, and do all that stuff just to have your attention. So be on the lookout for that, right? Make sure that things aren't pulling you away from the most important thing. So this is Coach Wells, and if you made it this far to the podcast, that means that you enjoy it. So make sure you subscribe to it so that we can get more podcast episodes like this. All right, this is Coach Wells. Take it easy.